I'm going to play you guys a full clip of some congressional testimony absent any editing so that you guys can see what batshit crazy is. And then I'm going to follow it up with the utterly delightful AOC, who's reframing the events and taking up the crazy several notches. This is not about politics per se. It is more broadly about the insanity that so greatly desires to grab the reins of power and how they will steer the entire world as well as the United States into a ditch, and how you and all of our children will pay the price, and quickly.
And here we go.
What would you do with petrochemical products? Like everything you have, your clothes, your glasses, the car you got her on, your phone, the table you're sitting at, the chair, the carpet under your feet, everything you've got is petrochemical products. What would you do with that? Tell the world.
If I had that power in the world, actually, I don't need that power, because what I would do is ask you, sir, from Louisiana.
I'm giving you the power. You're presenting.
To search you, sir, from Louisiana, to search your heart and understand why the EPA knows that toxic petrochemical facilities are some of the most toxic, polluting facilities in the world and are killing black people throughout Louisiana.
Okay,
so my first thing would be you to search your heart and ask your God what you are doing to the black and poor people in Louisiana. That would be my first thing to ask.
The man is asking a simple question. I'm giving you all the power. Help me out here. Advise me. What should we do? First of all, she's looking down at her binder. She's reading her notes. She can't even answer the opening salvo of questioning without looking down. But that's more aside the point. More importantly, she plays the race card. The poor brown and black people of Louisiana. She says it twice, blaming him for everything bad that's ever happened in all their lives. This man, in her mind, is the devil. She's conjured up a demon and she is spiteful towards him. She's insulting, and he's asking her to advise him. And she tells him to search his heart, and then seems to insult him for being religious. Oh, and note the fact he called her boo. Of course, this is what the left immediately jumped on, not referencing her idiotic testimony, which, by the way, is going to get worse. Stay tuned for that. The fact is that he is the one who is being attacked and went into the cupboard, back to a name probably from his use that he uses in an attempt to soften the rhetoric and the exchange. But oh no, he called her boo, and that's what all the yentas at the View were yammering on and on about. Not that she's playing the race card, insulting his religion, demonizing him, and not answering the question, of course. He called her boo. Continuing.
One at a time so that we can...
It's my time, Mr. Chairman. If I reclaim my time, I shall. I'm going to give this young lady an opportunity. You might not like it, but America needs to hear it. You've got no answer, do you, young lady, about what to do with petrochemical products, so I'll move on. What are you going to do with ocean-going vessels? What do you do with the maritime industry?
Well, we could, again, I would ask you to search your heart for what is happening on the coast of Louisiana. Of course we do. We need to move away from petrochemicals. We need to shut down the petrochemical facilities in your state and move away from plastic. We need to move away from it.
You couldn't be here. It's insane. What would you do with the aviation industry?
The only thing that would not function is the petrochemical industry in your state, sir.
Oh, the righteousness. The only thing that would not function is the petrochemical industry in your state, sir. He just asked her about shipping vessels, the airline industry. Let's make sure that I got that moment right. Let's go back and rewind the tape.
What would you do with the aviation industry?
The only thing that would not function is the petrochemical industry in your state, sir.
Huh? Whoa, I did. I don't understand. I'm the one who's right here. She's righteous and indignant. How could she possibly be wrong? Because, according to her, without fuel, airlines would fly themselves. What we could do is we could get a bunch of doves, attach them to the wings of the aircraft, and have them flap their arms, their wings in unison, and lift the aircraft from the ground. Shipping corn and wheat across the globe? Well, hell, put it in a horse and buggy, bring it to the coast, and then we'll put it on maritime vessels that we've re-equipped with the sails from the time of Columbus and send them across the sea. The only thing that would not function is the petrochemical industry in your state, sir.
Do you care about the planet, good lady? Like, do you have ecological concern for real? Like, from a biblical perspective, we were given, the Lord gave us dominion over the planet and the creatures thereof. Now, the original translations of dominion means to care for and nurture. So from a biblical perspective, I am an environmentalist. I love my planet and the people and the creatures thereof. Do you?
Sir, if we're going to talk about the Lord, I ask that you search your heart again and think about repenting.
I searched my heart very quickly. I love the planet. I'm asking you,
the fossil fuel industry that owns your state is destroying the earth and the natural world, and that is a fact, sir.
You know what you got, young lady? You got a lot of noise, but you got no answers. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
What are you going to do? You want to destroy the bridge to cleaner energy. The Democratic Party and these environmentalists, they're completely nuts. I love nature. I love being out in an unspoiled natural world, but these people have no conceptions of trade-offs. Just take a look at the Germans, at the behest of the environmental community, have held up nuclear power, shuttering plants that used to produce a great amount of German electricity with, by the way, zero carbon emissions, and gone to wind and solar, which, by the way, take petrochemicals to create. And with Russian natural gas being one of the major energy sources for Germany, they are now beholden to the likes of Vladimir Putin at his tender mercies if he decides to shut down all the gas going into the country during the first cold snap of winter. How many Germans are going to freeze to death because they made these nutty decisions not based on pragmatism, but based on some ethereal concept of what is right? And even if they don't freeze, which I hope that they don't, how much more around the globe is electricity going to cost? How negatively will this affect economy and people's jobs and livelihoods as they pour their money into securing heat? But she demands that he search his heart and stop being a racist and a religious nutjob so that he can think like her. Because physics and real-world practicality do not matter to these people one iota. It's whether or not you can convince your fellow leftists that you have the right idea, that your heart is ideologically pure. A bunch of Marxists preening their bright plumage for the world to see, asking the world to justify their existence with your heart, oh my goodness, it's so wide open, so they can bask in this reflective light while the world plunges into darkness as their ideas are employed and implode the planet. These are the people who want dominion over our system, and in all fairness to them, they seem to be winning with their demented Trojan horse, Joe Biden, who is employing not the center ideas that he campaigned on, but is beholden to the radical leftists. What it is, to borrow a phrase from the great Adam Carolla, it's chick think. There are guys who think this way, like Beto O'Rourke or Justin Trudeau, and women that think more like dudes, like Margaret Thatcher or South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. They think more practically. Guys want to get things done efficiently. Girls want to pontificate and virtue signal to each other. This is generality, of course. And so my question is, do you want people like this in power? Do you want virtue signaling, spiteful women who are unable to answer a single question, advising the government as to what to do? These are the same people that want your kids continuing to mask in school because they don't understand the term opportunity cost. They'll continue to demand and try to mandate vaccines for your children, despite the possible negative ramifications of myocarditis, even though the vaccine doesn't prevent transmission against a disease that doesn't really affect them. Why? Because
to search your heart
and now they demand that we immediately shut down oil and gas, the lifeblood of the world's economy, that which has taken us from the dark ages and given us livable lives with the energy, with the power, with the plastics. And they demand that we shut it down altogether. But don't worry, because according to this expert, the only thing that will be shut down is the petrochemical industry of Louisiana. And they demonize people with practical solutions because, as evidenced by this insane woman, that is all they have. Demonization and making others feel guilty for not being good people like them. She had ample opportunity to provide a good answer as an expert witness, but he called her boo, and you have to vote against that, even as she insulted and berated him. So now that we've covered that, let's move to the amazing Einstein-like AOC and get her reaction to these events.
I wish I could use all my time on questioning, but I wanted to address Ms. Salter directly. I just want you to know that in the 4 years that I've sat on this committee, I have never seen members of Congress, Republican or Democrat, disrespect a witness in the way that I have seen them disrespect you today. I do not care what party they are in. I've never seen anything like that. And for the gentleman of Louisiana and the comfort that he felt in yelling at you like that, there's more than one way to get a point across. And frankly, men who treat women like that in public, I fear how they treat them in private. We can be better than this. We don't have to resort to yelling.
Yes, AOC, yes, pound the table and raise your voice as you accuse a conservative who behaved far, far better than the expert witness that he was questioning. Far better. Go ahead and lie and put on this very mediocre acting job because, as AOC once said, it's far better to be morally correct than factually. And the beauty is, in this case, it's 100% clear who the liar is, as is the case most times that she opens her mouth. But this is who the SEALs out there applaud for, because they promise that they'll throw them a fish every once in a while, maybe more and more often if AOC gets her way, in an effort to get them to stop and never remember how to fish for themselves and become fully reliant upon the politicians for their daily bread, which is a great way to get reelected. So America, the only question I have for you is if you want to choose to vote for these crazy lying yentas with no solutions who preen their brightly colored social justice feathers, having grown up in a zero-gravity environment without any consequences, without knowing them, and saying, look at me, approve of me, or vote for virtually anything else. Because the yentas and the energy behind them think that are driving these policies are going to take America and the world to the bottom of the ocean, much like most of those wind-powered ships from the days of Columbus and Magellan that they will demand that we use.